Howdy y'all, this is Redwolf, and right here on the heels of starting my Surviving History series, I feel like it'd be a good time to explain what historical living is. Now, historical living is what I qualify, what I do most often, which is where you attempt to, I guess, spend a day in the life of the shoes of someone in the time period you've chosen to portray. And that can be real simple, like I'm kind of a generic 1900s man right here. Or it could be as specific as, you know, there's interpreters for Mad Ann Bailey and George Washington and Napoleon. You got specific people, specific places, and all that. And I enjoy doing it. I like getting out here in different stuff. You learn a lot of different things when you strip away a lot of your modern stuff. Like, one of my big ones is how I interact with the weather. There's a Viking saying, I would not say it in Old Norse, but it translates as, there's no bad weather, only bad clothes. And my wardrobe has shifted so hard in the past decade and a half, which is when I started doing some of the earlier reenactment stuff, or living history, because I didn't have the luxury of hiding in my house whenever it was raining. I didn't have my rubber boots to wear. I had to reinvent all my kit, my clothing, to make it to where I wasn't dying all the time so that I could go out and do all the rest of my stuff. Living history kind of falls broadly into one of two categories. You really have professional and amateur. And professional is where you get a job as an interpretive ranger, or you get a job at like someplace like Colonial Williamsburg, which is a surviving colonial era place that is basically a tourist attraction where you can go and learn and experience it as close as we can replicate to how things actually were. That's what you call a dream job. And you have the interpretive rangers, or people that like at parks and stuff like that, old forts. Sometimes they'll hire somebody to come out there, fix the place up, try and do everything the way it was done in the time period where the fort was active. And that's really nifty. I've gone down there, hung out with some of those people. I actually learned how to dress deer hides from a man at one of those, and that was a really nice experience. And you kind of get your amateur stuff, which is what I do. And there are huge swaths of what people will call reenactment. And you know, some of your terminology here, you have reenactors, which primarily do historical battles, usually with a specific unit in mind and with big group of people they go to and do that with. You have like trekkers, which is sort of what I do, which is people that put on the stuff and go out in the woods and try and put boots on the ground. You've got mountain men, you have rendezvousers, which are people that get together and do mountain men stuff at specific spots, but don't necessarily go out and live on a creek bank doing traps in the middle of winter and try and shoot geese with flintlocks. And one of the things I like about it is and kind of in this vein, is the experimental archaeology end of it. It's surprisingly hard to do stuff exactly the same way that someone used to do it, and we don't remember how they did it anymore. And there's I get really ticked off about a lot of misconceptions people have, because I do experimental archaeology. I take the best surviving stuff we've got and all the examples I can find of it and try and replicate that. A good example being the pack I'm going to be using, which is an old school thing. This is actually a new model haversack, because instead of one strap it has two, from about the 1740s. And taking all the best advice we had and trying it out, I found out that the straps are in the wrong spot. And I've since, because I had that issue, went and done more research and found a more historically correct way to do them, which I'm going to be fixing soon. But in my experiments after this pack, those more historically correct ways of doing it actually make the pack function 10 times better. This goes from an uncomfortable, unwieldy pack to a really comfortable day pack that I really enjoy walking around in and carrying up to a certain quantity of items in. You know, I really like the canvas. Some people complain about it being wet and heavy and all this mess compared to some stuff, but it's tough and I don't have to take care of it. And I appreciate that, you know, and just a lot to it when you immerse yourself in it. A lot of skills and techniques I've learned, and you just get weird stuff like my poles here are my canvas is nailed on here. I have no idea if it's a good idea or not. I highly doubt it, but it's not roped on like we would a modern tarp, and I'm playing with it. You know, it's just kind of a bushcraft. That's something completely different kind of feel, and I like it. You know, it's just fun. It's entertaining, and I've learned a lot, and hopefully that's a decent explanation of what I'm doing. I've lost my train of thought, but if y'all want a part 2, got any questions or anything, let me know down in the comments. Be happy to expound on my lost train of thought if that helps anybody. Till next time, this is Redwolf signing off. Y'all keep up the good fight.